Hello again, this is Lori from the Crafting Auntie. Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to go ahead and share with you how I made this gatefold folder that I put inside this lap book that I do have a project share on my channel. And I wanted to show you the dimensions and how I created it. This particular one is a gatefold folder, and it has two tags, one on each side, and then it's got this pad of paper in the center. When I originally designed this, I designed it as a mini album with additional pages in here. So for this idea in my lap book, I decided I wanted to go ahead and make it into a little notebook. So it's kind of a gatefold file folder notebook. Kind of sounds good. Anyway, I thought I would come out here and give you the dimensions and show you how I created this. So I'll grab a couple things and I'll be right back. Okay, I've grabbed some paper. What I did to make it a little easier this time is I have printed the sheet that's going to be used to make the actual album itself double-sided. You don't have to. It can be single-sided. On the one in the lap book, I only did a single-sided, and then I covered the inside, but to save time, I decided to go ahead and do it double-sided, so we're going to use this. And then I printed a second sheet that kind of went with the same coloring that I'll use for the tags and for the pockets. So the first thing you're going to need to do is cut your main piece. It's going to be your main part of the folder, and you're going to cut it 6 inches tall, so 6 inches, and you can decide what you want depending on your paper. And then you're going to have it 10.5 inches wide. So on the 11.5 side, we're just going to cut that down to 10.5 inches. Kind of out of screen. Let me zoom out just a little bit for you. There we go. So 10.5 inches. So line that up and cut that off. Okay, so here's your piece that is 6 by 10.5. And then we're going to go ahead and cut a couple more pieces. So we're going to cut a couple for the pockets, and I think I'm going to go ahead and use the top of this double-sided for the pockets, or maybe I'll use it for the tags. That's what I'll do. I'll use that for the tags. So let's cut the pockets out of this single-sided sheet. And the pockets are 2 1/4, and I will put all the dimensions in the description box. So 2 1/4. And then they're 3 1/8 each. So 3 1/8 and whoops, 3 1/8. Now we're going to go ahead and cut these on an angle as well. So what I'm going to do is turn this one over so that I can have the angles going both sides to go onto the folder. And then I'm just going to line up the tip right here into the cutting part, and we're just going to slice this off, just like that. So now we have a pocket for each side. And that will go on the inside. Whichever side I decide is the inside, this will go on there. And then the last pieces we're going to cut, I'm going to go ahead and use this top piece, and we're going to cut 2 tags, and the tags are 1 7/8. So let's get 1 7/8. By 4 1/2. So 4 1/2 and 4 1/2. And other than the paper pad, that's the cutting you'll need right now. So we're going to take our big piece that is 6 by 10.5, and we're going to do some scoring on it. Grab my scoreboard And I want this to be on the outside, so I'm going to turn it over. On the 10.5-inch side, you're going to score at 2.5. So let me make sure you can see this. So line this up, 2.5. And 2 3/4. So 2.5 and 2 3/4. And then I'm just going to turn it around and do the same thing. 2.5. And 2 3/4. And that's all the scoring you need. So now you have your piece and you have your score. So we're just going to fold them and burnish them down with a bone folder so they're nice and crisp. So do both of your score lines. And this makes the sides of your gatefold folder, just like that. I'm going to do the other side. Burnish that down and burnish this down. Now we've got our gatefold. And it's going to have just a tiny bit of a gap, which is fine, because you can add a lace or whatever it is you want to on there. So this is going to be the gatefold. And on mine, I did add lace. So let me show you again what that looks like. So I did add lace here where it comes together. So it makes it look really nice when it's all sealed and closed up. Okay? So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the pockets. Now, what I would normally do on this is I would also ink all my edges. So since we're here and we're doing a tutorial, I'm just going to go ahead and ink all the edges. I happen to be using Distress Oxide Vintage Photo. It's hard to read. It's been used quite a bit. I like Vintage Photo because of the coloring in this particular paper. I think it really accents it very well. So we're just going to ink up all the edges. And we're going to do that on the inside and on the outside. And on the outside, we're also going to do on the folds. Get this done. And then I'm going to do all the folds as well. So they look much nicer. You can actually see the folds a little better now that I've got them inked. Okay, so now we've got that done. And I want to go ahead and also do the pockets. So I'm going to go ahead and ink those as well. And this is what I would normally do if I was putting this into a lap book, or you can actually add it into a journal if you'd like. Can be a bit bulky, but it can be used in a journal as well. So on the inside part, we're going to add our pockets. I'm going to add one there and one on this side. So you want to put the glue to the very, very edge, just on two sides. So on this long side, I'm going to use Art Glitter Glue. I'm just going to add some glue here and at the bottom. And that allows you to get the tag in much easier. So we're going to put a little border around it. Place that there. So there's one. And we'll do the other one the same way. On the long side, and across the bottom. And put that here. Then the only other thing that's left is your tags. So the only thing that I would do on these is cut them to the size of a tag. So I'm going to just put them together, cut off one corner, and then it was cut off like this. So I'm going to turn it over and put it on the other side. You probably already know how to do this. And make the cut on this side. So that gives me the two tags. Now you can decorate these. I'm not going to decorate these. You can add eyelets, which is what I did on these. So let me just show you again. So this is the lap book, and what I did is I added eyelets and I decorated each of the tags just like this. I also stitched on this as well, so you can do the same thing. So the tags are finished at this point, and you can just tuck them into the pockets. And having this open on the side here makes it much easier to tuck these in. Then the last thing that I did on mine is I added a little notepad of paper. So I used some of the tea dye paper that I have here in my stash, and I cut it to size. And you'll want to cut that paper at 4.5 by 5.5. So let me just get a couple of pieces and I will do that. So we're going to cut it 4.5 by 5.5. Just going to cut these all together. So 4.5 by 5.5. Actually, that gives us quite a few pieces as a notepad. You can add more or less, whatever it is you want on there. And then the only other thing I did was I added some eyelets and I added the paper pads in here. So if we take a look at the lap book again, on the inside, I used eyelets, and what I did is I used eyelets on the paper pad. I have it tied in here, and then I did put eyelets in the back also. It's kind of hard to see, but there is eyelets back there. So what you'll want to do is put your eyelets on your paper, and then the same holes to match up on the backs of your folder here. So let me grab a couple of eyelets, my Crop-A-Dile. I didn't measure, I just eyeballed as far as putting the holes in here. So I just kind of eyeballed and added 2 holes here for the eyelets, and then I did lay this on top of here and got it centered where I wanted it, and then I did mark those. Use a pen and we'll mark these. Whoops. Here and here. So now I can punch those holes. So we got one here. It's hard to see them. I want to make sure I have them right. Oh, there it is. Okay. So we have it here. And then I'm not seeing this one very clear, so I want to make sure I have it right. There we go. And here. Okay, so now they should line up. Yep. So now we'll add our eyelets. Just eyelet this stack of paper together. Okay, so we've got that. And now we'll do it on the back of our folder as well. And since I put this in a lap book, it was totally fine to put these to where they were facing up. If you have a different application, you may want to change that and maybe put the eyelets the other way. But since I was putting it down on a lap book, that worked out perfect for me. Okay, so now you've got that. And then I just used some twine to tie this into place inside the book. So let's see, let me grab some twine. Just cut a piece. And then we'll just tie this in place. Just like that. And like that. And like that. And you can trim that down however you want to. So that is the basic construction of this. Now in the lap book, I also used some leather. It's just some faux leather, and I made the strap. So just a piece about 1 inch long, and then I just wrapped it around how I thought, as much as I would need to put the buckle on. And then I trimmed that, folded it in half, and sewed it. So let me show you again inside the lap book. So in here, all I did was fold this in half, and then I secured it with some glue on the back of this before I mounted it in my lap book. If you're going to mount it some other place, you won't need to worry about that. You can also just put it on here and buckle it on and then just leave it. You don't have to glue it or anything if you're just going to make it as is. So all I did was cut that in half, measure what I thought I needed, glued it to the back, left the front part available and open, and then I added some lace here for the closure. And that's all I did for the Gatefold file folder. So I just wanted to come out here and share with you the basic construction of this, and hopefully you'll give it a try and make one yourself. So until the next video, enjoy and have a great day. Bye.